Yeah, hello Chelsea fans. Good day to you all. It's nice to be here again. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be here with you this evening. Evening that I'm speaking from, and I'm sure you are happy to join the show this evening. We have a lot on bundle today. We have a lot on bundle. It's me again. It's Ayoade here. It's nice to be here with you guys, every one of you. And as I said, it promises to be wonderful, to be a wonderful show. This is just the socials brought to you from Chelsea sessions. We have a lot to unbundle today. We'll be talking about Nicolas Jackson. We're talking about Nicolas Jackson and how that have been linked to different strikers here and there. We are going to check the stats. We are going to see how well he's performing and actually can he take us to the promised land. When I talk about the promised land, I'm talking about the Premier League and the Champions League titles. Can Jackson take us there? We have a lot to talk about. We'll also be checking Maresca ball as against Poch ball. In essence, we'll be checking where we were last season and where we are this season. The differences, because actually there are little differences, and such that we need to talk about looking at the bigger picture and of course where we are as a team. So don't go anywhere. Sit back. Let's go for these little commercials. We'll be right back. Get your popcorn ready now because it promises to be a wonderful show. I'll be right back. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you very much for joining the show. I'm very excited that we all are here, and it promises, as I said, to be a wonderful show. And we're flogging a lot, we're checking a lot of things, checking how that our team is performing, and it promises to be wonderful. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Call a friend. Sharing is caring. Let somebody join you in the show. Let's do this together. All right. I have with me a wonderful person, a friend. Thank you for joining, man. Welcome, man.
Thank you again, Ayode. Thank you for having me, brother. You well?
Yeah, thank you very much for joining the show, man. It promises to be a wonderful program. And as I said, we have a lot to talk about, and we have a lot to talk about. Make sure you are liking this video, make sure you are subscribing, make sure you are sharing, make sure you are calling somebody to join you. I can't wait to get started. All right, I want to start with a big question. And start with a big question. And the question is on Nicolas Jackson. I want to start with a big question. Now, has Jackson done a lot? Enough? Has he convinced you? Has he convinced you? Has Jackson convinced you? And we we just have to talk about this guy. Did you see that goal against Leicester City? Man, let me get your reaction on that goal first. How do you see that goal against Leicester City?
Yeah. Before I go with it, big up to the regulars who are here. Big up Ty, I was with you, bro. Can you guys hear me? But sometimes my network is tripping.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you,
Oh,
but can be
oh,
louder.
okay. Maybe it's my network. Sorry, but I think it's going to come up. So with Nicholas Jackson, I'm very impressed. And the goal, I think, the way he scored it, I think he was battling with the defender because as you check, the ball was the ball as it was bouncing in mid-air, you can check he was bringing a lot of physicality into the game. So he boxed the defender and it kind of the ball kind of flew to Enzo. Then Enzo just quickly gave it to Nicolas Jackson. Nicolas Jackson just finished it first touch, done clinical, finished it onto the bottom side of the corner. And what a goal! I think that's where he's improving his game in terms of like finishing wise. So I'm happy for him, man. It's a quick goal.
Sincerely, it's a wonderful goal. And personally, I think last season he won't score that goal. Last season he's not scoring that goal. He will miss that goal last season. And the composure, the way he took his goal, is something that we need to talk about. Something that we need to talk about. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And sincerely, for me, I am pleased. I am pleased with Nicolas Jackson. What people look at most times, of course, as a striker, we rate you as touching the number of goals you score. But but as a matter of fact, have we cannot take away the fact that the other part, the other aspect to a striker than just putting the ball at the back of the net. Look at Manchester City. At Manchester City, yes, one of the issues they have is that the striker that, personally, I think so. One of the issues they have is that the striker that they have is such that they have to play to his taste, and that's not Manchester City. That's not Manchester City. I saw on a tweet, I don't have it here, how that Manchester City scored 99 goals before they signed Haaland, and since then they've not managed to score those amount of goals, despite the fact that Haaland has been racking up all the goals. He has been getting breaking records and setting new records for fun. But as a matter of fact, I think he's stippling the team as he's getting better. The team is not getting better. But that's not what we are seeing with Jackson. I have started to that we are going to check up as the show continues. So now, Chelsea fans, this question is for you. How many goals? How many goals will Jackson score this season that will give you confidence to stick with him as our number one striker next season? How many goals do you think Jackson has to score this season that will give you the confidence for you to stick with him next season? Big up to you, Roderick. Big up to you, Roderick. Thank you very much for joining the show. Big up to you, J-Tap. I hope I'm J-Tapia. J-Tapia. I hope I'm pronouncing it the right way. I'm very sorry if I'm not. Big up to you. Thank you for joining the show. So, man, let me hear from you. How many goals do you think Jackson must score this season for you to be able to say, come on, let's have you for next season as our number one striker?
Yeah, pick up Rodrick. Yeah, I think 20 goals. I'm looking at around the 20 goals, 25 goals because he started very well. He's in the seventh goal so far. Yeah, I think he's gonna beat his Charlie last season. But I am looking around 20 to 25 goals.
All right. Okay, I want to also ask you a question. I want to also ask you a question. The question is, at this point, do you regret the fact that we didn't sign Victor Osimhen?
Wait, is my mic better now? I think I fixed it
Yes,
kind of.
much
Yeah, there
better,
you go. There you
much
go.
better,
Sorry, sorry
much much
about
better.
that, guys. Sorry about that. What is the question?
If are you regretting the fact that we didn't sign Victor Osimhen? Are you regretting that now?
I think that's a biased question, like, cause in terms of like when we're signing a top striker, yes, I because at that moment everyone wanted a top striker, but do we really need Osimhen right now? I don't think so. Apart from what has Jackson has been doing, I mean, like if Osimhen can fit in our system, which maybe he will, I don't think we really regret not getting him into the picture. But what I'm seeing so far, I think with Osimhen, he can take us to another level. So I'm not really regretting on banging in someone that's top class, but at the end of the day, Jackson took the pressure and he handled it very well. And I mean, the guy is now contributing a lot. He has improved. Sorry, and yeah, I think day by day and maybe game to game, you will see like one or two beats. Yeah, but I don't think we really need to worry about not getting Osimhen, because the team has been performing without any top striker. So at the moment, I'm very happy with Jackson.
All right, thank you for that, man. Sincerely, for me, I think that there's really nothing to regret because I really doubt the fact that Osimhen can fit into this Chelsea team. I doubt that. And Maresca has been loud about the fact that it's not just about scoring. It's not just about it's not just about scoring. There are things that this guy offers that just makes him a very good striker for us. The fact that the way he presses other teams, the way he creates chances, the way he drops his hold up play. And apart from the goals, which has been the major issue, I think since last season, this guy has been good in every other section of the football pitch, apart from putting the ball at the back of the net. Yes, strikers are judged by the number of goals they score, but it's still a lot of debates that we have to have. The type of strikers that actually fits Chelsea Football Club and the style of play we play presently. Because personally, I still say it, I have gotten a lot of sticks for it, and I will say it again. I still think Jackson a is a complete striker, is more complete than Erling Haaland. I say it and I get a lot of sticks for it. I still say so, and I still say it with my full chest that Jackson is a better striker, no, not a better striker, a much more complete striker than Erling Haaland. In the box, there's no other striker like Erling Haaland in the world. But that's not just to it. That's not just all to it. The other part of the football, the other part of the striking role that is more than just putting the ball at the back of the net. O'Hara, I think this guy, Jamie O'Hara, is a Tottenham fan, if I'm not wrong. He said Nicolas Jackson is on fire and proving people wrong too. He's turning into a really good striker. So let me ask you, man, last season, did you have faith in Jackson?
Not at all. I won't lie to you. Not at all. Not at all. It's cause like, I mean, big up Debucho. It's cause from the time when we bought him at Villarreal, like we never. I don't think also they assessed him very well, because we picked up a guy for at least 20 to 30 million. Sorry, and this guy we never saw his cameo. You check. So I never trusted him, but I wasn't there to say I never gave him a chance. I did, but when we gave him a chance and we saw last season how he was performing, there were just one or two things like he had to improve. And I get that because it's his first season. And I won't lie to you, when we got Jackson, it kind of bugged me to say, yo, we could have gotten someone at least better. But at the end of the day, man, like he showed up and he actually proved us wrong. That he can do a more better. He can be better. He can be a better striker, and he's showing it right now. And you said it perfectly when you said he's a complete striker. And I think more about, yes, around about is very better than Haaland in terms of like feet game and all that stuff. He's very good with his feet, running. He can dribble. They don't call him the Senegalese Neymar for a reason. But at the end of the day, you need a kind of a player like that. And I'm seeing this now. Like at first, we all thought Nicolas Jackson was going to be one of those guys who's going to flop, right? No one
Yeah.
expected Nicolas Jackson to be the top striker as in right now. But like the way you see him improve game to game, and you start to realize, okay, yeah, maybe I was wrong about him. And yeah, and I'm eating my words right now. I want, I want, But at the end of the day, I'm happy for him because he's been our outstanding player, man. So yeah.
Ah, thank you very much for that. And I really appreciate the fact that you said that he's making you take back your words. But I have a problem with some section of our fans that just want to see our players fail. And it's funny. It's funny because you don't want to be wrong because of ego. You just want the player to fail because you are taught that you will fail, because you are prophesied that you will fail. And because of the fact that is now proving you wrong, you don't want to eat your way. So because of that, you still eat on the player. I think that's a very bad attitude and such that we really need to check as a fan base. Big up to you, Tebo. Big up to you. Big up to you. I really like this comment by Roderick, and it brings a question to my mind. He said, "Well, you need to stick with him as an option, but AFCON is something we need to think about, and also the fact that against certain low blocks, it can be marked out." When I read this, something came to my mind. If we are looking at this, do you think that Osimhen is the solution to this?
For low blocks, yeah, I've seen Osimhen.
No, 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 not just low blocks, not just low blocks. AFCON
Oh,
too. Osimhen will go to the AFCON too. And yes,
oh,
probably
yeah,
is good
yeah.
against low blocks, but what of AFCON? So let me hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at it that, then I think getting Osimhen at that particular, if you put it in that context, then I don't think it's a good choice for going for Osimhen. Because just like think about our games during December and January, and what if Osimhen goes all the way to the final, so he can be missed almost for a whole month, and which is like in some particular games we need him. But I think as well as when you look at Osman's profile, like he's one of those guys, like he's very clinical at finishing. So yeah, I don't think it'll affect us. But when you're talking about AFCON, yes, yes, most definitely, bro. Most definitely, because we have two players that play in Africa, and they are our strikers and we really need them. So you can't only depend on Nkunku as well. So yeah, I think that's also a valid point when it comes to AFCON. But sticking with Jackson as an up, bro, I feel like stick with Jackson permanently, bro, because bro, I feel like what he's doing this season, man, is gonna do a lot more, man. He's gonna do a lot more. So yeah, I'm very comfortable with that.
All right, thank you very much. That's something that just came to my mind. That if we're having bringing in Osimhen, then both of them will be going for the AFCON. Then we are back to square one. Except they're asking us to get under striker again, and I think that's just a waste of money. But so we have other strikers. We've seen the club being linked to players like Duran, and for one reason or the other, I think for attitude issues, the club decided to move away. All right, I think I like this too from J Tapia. I hope I'm right. It needs to remain as a number nine over Nkunku. Now, if Osimhen joins, then we can see how him and Jackson will divide time. Nkunku, as long as he goes to a club outside of DPO, then it doesn't matter. Okay, I think he added something. He said, "Or would you have them as a front two?" So, would you have Nkunku and no, Osimhen and what's it called? Osimhen and Jackson as a front two? I think it could work. It could work, but would you have them as a front two? Looking at having Inter in your mind, Inter Milan.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that as long as we playing like a back five or back four with double pivots. Then or maybe back four with one pivot. Then we have two lone strikers in the front. But just for fatigue, Jay, like I think it's not a good option. I think we should stick to one striker. But I think with him, both of them on the field, maybe we can get a bit more, who knows? Like you never know how it comes to as well technical decisions as well with that. So yeah, I think mainly if we put them both in the field, maybe we can get 1 or 2 goals, 3, 4. Yeah, begging in like that, but it's just for fatigue. I think we should stick to one in the front. Then one comes off the bench and he does his thing. Then because what I've seen so far since the because now if we bring Osimhen and we qualify for Champions League, let's say, these gents are gonna have so many games, man. So like now playing both of them in different types of matches, especially in the Prem, will kill the fatigue, and 1 or 2 of them won't able to make it for the match. So it's probably best to keep one striker rather than having 2 of them.
Mm. I think so too. Yes, it's better. I think for for identity, one striker is better. But I think there are some things that you just might need two strikers against them, and that's what this coach brings. He brings dynamism, whereby he has different tweaks here and there, and not to forget the fact that Jackson can also play on the wings. He's also a fox on the wings. Now, okay, I like this comment. I'll just take it to. He said, even though Alan, that is reacting to what Rodrick said, Team CFC says, even Alan gets marked out against certain low blocks. In fact, every striker gets marked out against certain low blocks. And I think that is very, very accurate. That's very accurate. He said, yes, okay, Rodrick again says that, yes, City, but City have no other striker now. Today, City and Chelsea have two different structures, and we don't have anyone to deputize for attack not scoring consistently. We need someone. All right, this promises, and I'm liking this comment section. I'm liking this comment section. And come on, guys, come keep bringing in these comments. Keep bringing in these comments. Okay, Team Chelsea in reaction says that my point is every struggles against a good. Let me get it out. Every My point is everyone struggles against a good low block. You can't name me one striker who is consistently good against low blocks. But I also do agree we need another striker. And that's just the point. I think we need another striker. But what we want to actually check on the show today is who best fits the bill. Who best fits the bill? Who exactly amongst all that we have been linked with fits the bill? But I just want us to appreciate what Jackson is doing, so that nobody is thinking that he's not doing enough. For me, Jackson can do better, yes, but is he doing well? Definitely. That's something that we cannot get out. So let's compare. Let's start the comparison now. Looking at this season against some of the strikers. Okay, this is Nicolas Jackson against Kai Havertz. In 2024-2025 season, in 12 appearances against 11 appearances, Jackson has 7 goals. Kai Havertz 4, 3 assists for Jackson, 1 assist for Kai Havertz. Also, I have another stat. I want us to react to them together. I have another one. Let me get it out. So I just want to hear your view, because this is a player that we all slandered last season, and he's coming. I think it's obvious that this guy is becoming a man. So let's just stay with what we said before. Okay, let me share this. So in this season, in 10 Premier League, he has 10 Premier League goals contribution. So what can you say about it? Is this a good enough return for you, Maya?
Yeah, it's a good start for him. I mean, 7 goals, 3 assists, goal contributions. I mean, we already see it. Him and Palmer are very close together. They have that chemistry. So, like, it's a good start. Like, apart from, what I've seen, because what I, I don't know with you, bro. Like, what I see so far, I feel like Nicolas Jackson is the second best striker so far in the Premier League. Apart from who Mbeo performing, I don't know who else, or maybe Chris Wood. I don't know who else is also been better this season, started better this season. So, I mean, this guy, if he continues like this, bro, like I'm looking at 20 to 25. If he can even go closer to 30, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I think 2020, I think you can measure 20 goals. And yeah, man, Jackson is better, bro. Like, Jackson is way better. This season is so better, man.
All right, let's see something. This is another one. So since non-penalty goals since the beginning of last season, Nicolas Jackson is third in most goals scored if you don't count penalties. Erling Haaland 31, Oli Watkins 25, Nicolas Jackson 21. Like this is wow. What do you have to say? What do you have to say, please?
And wow, because guys, this guy is 23. He's 23 years old. Just imagine when he's 26. Okay. So, like, he must just continue with it. It's impressive, very impressive, man. Apart from what he has done last season, he has grown so much, and I think people don't really want to sit down and see his stats like completely because I remember the time when we were bashing him, right? He
Hmm.
actually performed very well. He beat our expectations. The time where we were bashing him last season, he scored 14 goals, bro, and contributed, I think, 7, 8 assists. 14, and Kai Havertz, we mentioned it, we compared him to Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz only gave us 12 goals in a season, bro.
Yeah.
Check. And like with that and Jackson last season, he wasn't at that particular form as he was right now. So just imagine now he's just banging in goals week in and week out. Like he's been impressive, man. I don't wanna sugarcoat him too much, man. I don't wanna give him compliments too much, but man, like I think he has proven a lot, bro. He improved so much, and I think the fans really need to start giving him his flowers, man, and really see what he really does for the team. He contributes so much, man, so much.
I just put up the stats that you wanted now. So in 91 games, Jack Kai Havertz has 17 goals for Chelsea, 19 goals for Chelsea and 7 assists. And in 47 games, Jackson has 21 goals and 8 assists. Like you just can't hate this guy. I don't know why anyone would hate this guy. Don't know why anyone wants this guy to fail. This guy can do much for us. Let me take this comment. Then before I bring up, okay, no, let me take this one. He says that for him, that's from Team CFC. He said excellent discussion. Jackson is thank you. Big up to you, Team CFC. He says Jackson is better than Alan, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you idea and the guest panelists? I love to go with the stats. So let's see what the stats say. For me, as I've said it before, I think Jackson is a more complete striker than what's his name now? Elena. That's what I think. And I don't know. And I think my friend agrees with me that Jackson is a more complete striker than Ellen Haaland. So in the comment section, let's hear from you. Let's hear what you think. What's your take on it? So this is it. This is it. So this chart shows the comparison between Jackson. Jackson is blue and Ellen Haaland is is red. So what do you have to say to this?
Wow, okay. Is that wow? Wow. Okay, it shows that Haaland's not really good overall. Like he's just good at finishing. And I think with Haaland, Haaland gives me that poacher vibes, like the guy that just sits in the box waiting for the cross, then gets the ball in the net. With Jackson is that guy who carries the ball so much. Give him the ball, he'll carry it until to the box, and maybe he'll grab a chance and score. And with Haaland, we've seen him that he is not really good with feet. You give him the ball, he'll quickly lose the ball. But in terms of like finishing, I think Haaland is more better than Jackson in finishing, like putting the ball in the net. Yeah, but I do agree with you guys when you say Jackson is more complete than him. It's just his everything overall, like technique, dribbling, movement too, especially the movement. Jackson's very good at the movement. So yeah, same with Haaland, but Haaland at a certain point with Haaland he uses strength and all that stuff. So yeah, I do agree with that Jackson statement too.
All right, thank you very much for that. So from what we have here, we can see that the only thing that the only clear thing that Haaland has over Jackson is shots, non-penalty XG, and turnovers. Those are the three things that Haaland has over Jackson. And Jackson has over Haaland shooting percentage, passing percentage, assists, expected assists, open play shots, um, tackles. We have successful dribbles, carries into penalty box. Okay. Haaland has over Jackson self-created shots, and Jackson has over Haaland number of non-penalty expected goals per shot. And I think in other areas, some areas that are quite close. So this guy is coming, is building up himself to be a fox in the box. He's doing so well. He's doing so well. So I think it's high time we gave him his flowers. I think it's high time we gave him his flowers. So um going to the next topic now. So who do you think now, because of course we need competition up front, who do you think is the perfect person to actually be a second striker? Someone that can bring competition, someone that can bring competition to the team. So who do you think, man? Let me go, let me hear your choice first.
Is it also depending on if we buy a striker is gonna be first choice or just second choice for
No,
Jackson?
it doesn't have to be whether first choice. Someone that just brings competition that complements Jackson.
Oh, cause hey, Rodrigo, read my mind, bro. Bring in Sesko, Benjamin Sesko. That's the one guy in my mind. It's either Benjamin Sesko or
Okay.
Delap, but Delap. The problem is Delap is a bit young, bro. It's still raw. Delap is a bit raw, but yo, Benjamin Sesko, man, yo, hey, and that's one guy who were linked before he signed his contract. And I think he will heavily give Jackson so much competition because Sesko is that type of guy that likes to drive into the box, run with the ball. He's like an attacker, he's like an advanced forward, like type of guy, sort of, not around overall complete player. But in terms of driving with the ball, bro, and getting the ball into the back of the net, that's Benjamin Sesko. His movement too, very good, man. And he's very good with linking up too. So I think one guy I prefer Benjamin Sesko over Osimhen. Because Osimhen, one thing with Osimhen, there's one I think Osimhen won't adapt. Yes, he will, but I think it's gonna take him time to adapt, and he's not really that versatile. I think so, because sometimes when you tweak some positions for Osimhen, I don't think he'll fit that. But with Benjamin Sesko, like you can tweak a lot of things for him, you'll actually be good with it. So yeah, I think Benjamin Sesko is my one guy we can go for. A lot of body wants Victor Gyokeres, man. So I think Benjamin Sesko is the one.
All right. For me. Okay, what of Gyokeres? What do you think about Gyokeres?
Gilchrist is a complete striker. Is a complete striker. I think is more of a pressing forward too, but what I see is a complete striker. That guy is. That guy can do anything. Like, give him the ball. Just give him the ball. He go score. Like even in the box, like his aerial ability is amazing, man. So he's overall is a complete striker. Is one of the top strikers like every big team wants right now. So I get that though.
All right, then. Thank you very much for that. Fans, fans, let's hear your view. What are you going for? So we've drawn out a list. We have Gyokeres, Viktor Osimhen, Benjamin Sesko, Delap. Or is there somebody we are not mentioning? You can also mention that in the comment section. Who would you rather go for? Who would you rather go for? So for me, I think Sesko for me, and that's just because of his aerial ability. Is something else on the air, and I think that's one of the drawbacks of Jackson's game. That's one of the drawbacks of Jackson's game, and I think he's getting better. But the lab also is a wonderful choice because of the fact that it's already in England. But Benjamin Sesko, man, Benjamin Sesko, and of course, Delap. Another thing you have to consider is the fact that he's worked with Maresca in time past. He's also worked with Joe Shields in time past. So, and these two guys are pivotal to recruitment in Chelsea. So it's a wonderful, it's a dicey one. But if I'm the sporting director today, I'm going for Sesko. I'm going for Sesko because I think he just offers something else. He has that tendency to bring out something out of nothing, and I just think he complements Jackson so well. And should you actually want 4-4-2 against some team, that is your team. That's your team. So let's Sesko be the top striker, and also let Jackson play behind. And if you check the stats that we have, you see the number of passes that Sesko has to the box, passes to the box. It's the best among the lots. Is the best among the lot. Passes to the box. He has 72.7 passes. 72.7 passes. Nobody comes close. The closest is Delap, 38.4. That is wow. And Jackson is on 27.3. That is wow. 72.7. So, and for a team we are building that wants to be a possession dominant, then it's something that we need to talk about. Something that we need to talk about. So I wanted to just do a run through on these strikers that we listed, man. Why you prefer um Sesko to each of them. So just do a run through on them, please.
Um, um, I think it's because of experience as well. Like, I think it is much better to buy a player that's very experienced. Like, he has international games too. Played in the Champions League, playing in the European competition as well. We need those kind of a players in our team, and it's gonna boost Jackson as well because, like as we said, the type of competition as well. But in terms of choosing Benjamin Sesko, I think he brings a lot of balance to the team. Where I could see like with Liam Delap, Liam Delap's gonna take him time because it's still a little bit rusty. And I love watching him, man. He's one of the most promising strikers right now. And I'm telling you guys, this guy is going to ball when it gets to that point. But in terms of Sesko and no, not choosing Osimhen. I feel like Sesko is more versatile than Osimhen because and Sesko will adapt quicker than Osimhen because Osimhen will take time to adapt into the system and all that stuff. I'm not saying he won't score goals, he'll score, but it will take him time to get used to the system. Whereas in Benjamin Sesko, he will already like feel comfortable with it because he's very versatile. He can pick on it quickly. So yeah, I think one or two things that we'll see from him. I think he's my better option. Rodrigo read my mind so well, bro, about Benjamin Sesko, man. And yeah, I would rather choose Benjamin Sesko.
All right, thank you very much for that. As you said, let's run through the stats. Let's run the stat. Age is something that we must also consider. Delap is 21, Sesko is 21, Osimhen 25, 26, Gyokeres and Jackson 23. Now, one thing you must also consider is the injury history. I think among the lot, the worst injury history that we have here is that of Viktor Osimhen. He tends to have muscle injuries, and muscle injuries are not easy injuries to have. Also, knee injuries. Now, looking at passes, Gyökeres has the best passes here, passes received is Benjamin Sesko, 77.6. So we can see that Delap is starved of passes. So if he was in a better team, that means he might be performing better than he is doing. Victor Osimhen too is 20.7, and I believe for Victor Osimhen is because of his pattern of play. He doesn't link up play, he doesn't come to the midfield. So because of that, I think that is why he has this um, low number of passes received. Now look at Gyokeres is a wonderful option because you can see the number of passes he is having because of the pattern and the style of play. He tends to do a lot of link up play, come to the midfield to get the ball. Now aerial percentage of aerial one, we have 42 for Jackson, 47.3 for Gyokeres, 55.4 for Victor Osimhen. Are you seeing this for Sesko? 91.8. 91.8% of area duels won. That is massive. Then the lap we have 18.0. Non-penalty goals. Jackson 88.6, Gyokeres 97.1, Victor Osimhen 84.6. Benjamin Sesko takes a lot of penalties, so he has 64.1, and Delap, of course, 89.4. XG, XG, XG means when you are scoring goals, the type of goals that you score, the kind of position you get yourself into, and the chances you have, the number of goals we think you should score from those chances. So Jackson has 84.9, Gyokeres has 99.2, Victor Osimhen 94.0, Sesko 35.1, and Delap 55.1. So we can see that for Gyokeres, he creates his own scoring chances. That's what this indicates. And he has a lot of goal scoring chances, gets into those positions real well. But for Sesko, just as I was saying, he scores spectacular goals that you don't expect, things that you don't expect, you just get them out of nowhere. Looking at passes to the box, we've seen that expected assist. You can see Gyokeres, because of his style of play, also 93.9. So if you are looking at the statistics, from the statistics that we have, you can see that Gyokeres is the best option that we have. But if you are looking at somebody that complements, because I think Gyokeres and Jackson are similar strikers. Yes, Gyokeres might be better now, but I think they are similar strikers. And of course, you cannot take away the context of the fact that they are playing in different leagues. They are playing in different leagues. So, but if you are looking at the bigger picture, I just feel like Sesko is the one um, to 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 bring competition in that forward line. So let me hear from you as we try to round up on this topic. Let me hear from you. What do you think? And following all the stats that you have just checked, all the metrics and everything, do you still think that you are still going to stay with them, Delap, or you are tempted by Gyokeres?
It depends, cause if we if the board or the club really is targeting a player on that caliber, maybe. But I think as well we have to look at it this way: like when we buy a player, we need to buy someone that's gonna fit into the system, not just to buy a player just for individual performances. Yes, you will have that. I'm not saying we don't want a player for that. You will have that, but I think it will count more when we buy a player that is going to fit with the system very well. And that's why, we were talking about, Sesko and, Delap. But as well with Delap, like I said, Delap is very raw. Like you could see, you still see his end game. There's one or two beats like he needs to work on. He missed the chance against United, so he's still working on it. He's very young. So like these things happen to footballers, and yeah, they as time progresses, they improve. So, like in terms of stats or eye test, it does really count. But if a player really fits on that particular system and it works, I think we need to look at that approach. And frankly, maybe it could be Benjamin Sesko or Osimhen, or who else we're going for? Maybe Viktor Gyokeres. But I feel like also Viktor Gyokeres will definitely fit the system too, because he's also a complete runabout player. Like you said, he has more percentages on the passing rate too. Yeah, I think one or two bits we see from a player if we buy. I think it's just when we check a player, we just need to check more of his data rather than just buying a striker where we know, okay, is it gonna fit in the system or not? But yeah, I think I just think it's just more about the system. I look at it that way, not in terms of who's the better striker, who's the better player to look at. So yeah.
Big up to you, big up to you, man, big up to you, and big up to you, Victor. I beg your pardon. Big up to you. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you very much for joining the show. Okay, as you said, I think that as you said, very important is the fact that we need to consider our play pattern and someone that complements what we have. Because what would the evil that we do to ourselves by shooting ourselves on the foot is getting somebody that will stop the progress of Jackson, and that's something that we really need to work against. Someone that holds the progress of Jackson. I think personally, I think getting the Gyokeres will stop the progress of Jackson because they are similar. They have similar play patterns. So if you get a Gyokeres, you are stopping Jackson. That's what I think. But getting a Sesko, getting a Viktor Osimhen, getting a Delap doesn't doesn't hinder because it depends on the opponent. If you are playing against a low block, you know you are going for a Sesko, and if you are playing against teams that press you, you know that Jackson is your man. So it's just getting the balance that helps the team. That's what I think. I think Jackson will be stifled if we get Gyökeres. That's what I think. So, or what do you think, man? Are they similar players? From what I think, they are similar players. Do you think they are similar players?
Oh, cause I also feel like Jackson would do a lot better if you get both of them, bro. Like even Victor Gilchrist, bro, he would do exceptionally better. Cause that's like for him, like with Victor Gilchrist as high ceiling than Jackson, right? That's gonna put Jackson in that momentum, that pressure to do quite better than him. So I don't think it's gonna affect him. I think it's gonna improve him very well. If we get a top striker for Jackson, it's gonna improve a lot. So I do kind of disagree when you say Jackson will not uh get his development right, but yeah, I get your point. I get your point though.
Okay, I think what disagrees with what I say too. What I said too. What I actually mean is the fact that if you want to get another striker, that is the priority. and we have a striker that fits the bill when it comes to teams that press us. The issue we have that we've had this season is against low blocks, against Bournemouth as an example, against Nottingham Forest. These teams tend to sit back, and what you now notice is the fact that we are not Jackson is not able to impose himself like he would against a team that wants to press. I don't know if you get my point. Against a team that wants to press. But if we have a striker that is also like that, then we have not dealt with the issue. The issue actually is the fact that we need a striker that is able to play against low blocks more comfortably against one that is just there to bring competition to Jackson. So yes, bringing Gyokeres, okay, probably might not stifle the development of Jackson, but it doesn't solve the issue on ground. The issue on ground is getting a striker.
Hey, on the chat, can you guys hear him? Because I can't hear him too. I cannot hear him. Okay.
What's going on?
Can
What's going on, Myri?
are you?
How you
Oh,
doing,
okay.
man?
Are you,
Yeah. IOD has lost connection. I'm so sorry, guys. All right. So Myri, I was listening in to the show. Unfortunately, he's lost connection. He's lost power as well on his device. His battery has died, so I will have to step in his absence. So you guys are talking about sorry, could you remind me which striker in particular you and Ayodi were discussing about who would stifle the progression or the development of Jackson Mary?
oh, it was Viktor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko.
Oh, okay. So it is. Sorry, there's. I don't know if you guys are hearing him, but I missed out on what he said. Which striker?
Wait, can you guys hear me now? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I can
I
hear
was
you, but I
saying.
didn't hear the striker you mentioned.
Oh, okay. It's Viktor Gyokeres. It was two strikers, Viktor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko.
Okay, right. And you were and I have to say that based on what he was saying, then I would disagree as well. I think Roderick, who I have up on right here, is also saying that he doesn't agree that getting that type of striker would stifle the development. And I have to say I do agree. I do believe that what Ayodi was trying to argue was the fact that these players, if they come in, they have certain attributes that as a natural striker, and the fact that you know Jackson is more of a player that is being formed or molded into a striker. So at this present moment, he's not at that place, or that he's not in that situation where you can say that if you bring in a striker of a caliber of a Sesko or a Gyokeres, you would see him being stifled. I don't know what you think, but I don't think that that is a good criteria to use to stir this conversation about who should lead the line, and take into account the fact that those players are in the picture. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact that we have Nkunku. I don't know what you think, Mary.
Yeah. I was also gonna mention that too, like as well, like we can't ignore another second striker when we know that we're gonna get a top striker too, because now we're gonna limit him as well. But in terms of Nkunku as well, like we need to see his end game because we already know that he's actually good on the front too, in the middle as well, more effective in the middle, but he can play in the front. So maybe that also your point coming back to Nkunku as well with the striking role. Will he lead the line? Yes, fair enough. I believe so. If we give him the shoes, yeah, I think he would take on the pressure.
Fair enough, fair enough. I agree with that. Um, and that's the next thing as well. I was seeing the excellent debate that was going on between Tim and Roderick. They were proposing the fact that you one was arguing about if you bring in a Delap or a Sesko, that would actually be good for the club, and take into the account that Afcon. I think it was it Roderick or Tim that would have argued about that. Yeah, you can remind me if you know, Mayor, but I think that is the situation. I think that we have to take that into consideration. Any striker that we sign, we have to take into consideration the Afcon aspect. And funny enough, if you're gonna talk about that as a criteria, you can't talk about Victor Osimhen because he's gonna be with Nigeria for the Afcon as well. So in terms of that, that makes him perhaps not the ideal option because of Afcon. I think somebody made mention of that. I'm trying to see who exactly it was. Um, where is it? So I think somebody mentioned it. Anyways, it doesn't really matter if I can find it. We'll discuss it. But yeah, that is definitely a topic and an important criteria to set this conversation in that direction. So, Nkunku, do you believe that we should still sign a striker despite the fact that we have Nkunku who can deputize as somewhat of a striker or play as a central wide forward?
Yeah, in terms of Nkunku's situation, bro, I I still think we do need a striker because like I said, his best position is like in the middle, but as well we know that we can utilize him in the front. But if we look at that picture and we can see that, okay, maybe if the club doesn't want to pitch in for a striker, should we use Nkunku? Yes, I think so. I think he's going to be more effective in the front, you know. But depending how we're going to set him up in the system, is it going to play a false nine or is he going to play an up front type of guy just running with the ball? But in terms of if we allow Nkunku or we give him, the keys to say hello, just next season carry us in the front, and I think he can do an excellent job. Maybe not. We have to see how he performs as well. But like I said, his better position. I feel like it's in the middle, and I think getting a striker, I think it will be much better because it will limit the I think his profile, like in terms of people allowing him to be in a type of number nine or like a modern day striker. Sorry, but I feel like getting a striker will never limit Nkunku compared to like when we try to put Nkunku in the front, we just limit his end game because there's one or two things he's really good at, and there's those weaknesses like his aerial abilities. I think he's very good in his physicality because I saw him bowl those two Bournemouth defenders when he scored that goal against Bournemouth for that 1-0 victory. But yeah, there's one or two things about Nkunku that I'm not fitting well when he plays in the front. But I feel like we should get a striker for like just in case, And I do like the idea of Nkunku starting in the front. I think that's a lot of people have been talking about this for a long time. Like, should we really start Nkunku in the front with Palmer? And I think it's one or two things we need to take into consideration. Like, is it gonna be more effective? Because we know that Nkunku is more effective in the middle. So yeah, it's just those one or two questions we need we will have with Nkunku as well. So yeah. I think he can do the job, but it's kind of going to limit him a bit.
Okay, that's a fair point, and I understand. Now, I think we've discussed this topic for around an hour now, so I guess we can move on to the second item. If anybody else joins, any panelists join, we can always come back to the first topic about who we believe could like lead the line and who would be the best option. But I want us to move over to the next topic that I would have mentioned earlier, which is comparing the seasons. Obviously, the first 11 Premier League matches. Um, so that we can see what's happened so far this season. And based on what I've seen so far, actually, I don't think we can use all of the statistics or the data from Data MB, because so we're comparing the team. Let me know if you can see my screen as well, Mara. Let me know in the chat if you guys can see the screen. If you cannot, let me see if I can do it like this. Put it in full screen so the item is showing at a larger frame. All right, so let me see if I can probably zoom it in as well. Tell me if that is better.
Yeah, that's
Is
so
that
better
better?
when you zoom in. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So obviously looking at the percentile, so the teams we're comparing is obviously Chelsea's 2023-24 season, the team, and we look at the components such as goals, attacking, possession, counters, defending, physicality, and pressing. So, looking at the 2023-24 season, and let me see if I can zoom this down so we can see the graphics that's right here. All right, so according to this, goals 83.2, which, and then if you look at the 24-25 season, so Pochettino's season, Pochettino's Chelsea, the goals was 83.2. And so far, after just around 15 matches, or probably slightly above, I don't remember. Yeah, taking into account the Conference League, probably more than that. Probably we've actually played 25 matches or something close to that already. We've already gotten to 82.4 on the percentile map. Attacking, Pochettino's 23-24 team got 83.7, and so far we're at 76.3. So it's less at the moment, but that is impressive, I would say. I don't know what you think in terms of the fact of, the fact that we've played so little games in comparison to the matches that were played obviously in full in the last season. Before we move on, let me get your thoughts, Mer. What do you think about that?
I think I think that's a good valid point because I think we've done much better in terms of defending than last season because our defending was really bad. I think it's because of the pressing thing that we did with Pochettino. Yeah, I think with the physicality too, man. That's I thought, wow, I never thought the physicality would also be bad since last season. But what I've seen so far, they kind of improved on the defending too a little bit, and yeah, I think it's especially the oh, like it's so bad when I see Pochettino's graph, man. It's kind of bad, man. It's kind of bad.
Yeah, that's a very solid point there, to be honest. And looking at and we're gonna go to the defending, and obviously, as you just mentioned, as you can see on the screen as well, fellow audience and persons that are watching this perhaps after the stream, you can realize that when we look at the counters, it looks bad so far, but at the same time, we've played so little games in comparison to what would have happened in the 23-24 season. But that percentile, that the percentage, the data that is there is saying 88.5 in the 2023-24 season, last season. And in comparison to this season so far, after so little games in comparison, it's 66.4, which means that you can only imagine what would happen if we continue to do that. But we also have to take into account the fact of, the systems are completely different. We don't really want to talk about the tactical approach much, but you can't divorce yourself from it. Just use that term. We can't divorce, the tactical approach, because we know that the way that we play, we try to play from a more compact standpoint. We don't rush and attack and run, because we know that that was one thing that Pochettino was all about attacking, 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 and then we saw the amount of injuries that we had last season. But looking at the counters so far, what do you think about that? We're going to touch on the defending as you touched on about how it's slightly better. We've not done the greatest consistently this season defensively, but it has definitely been better than it has been overall last season. What's your thoughts?
Talking about the counters, I think the counter part is because just removing from the tactical conversation. Sorry, um, the counterpart is maybe because of the pressing as well. Because last season, I think we were like get the ball and release it much quicker, and I think that was one of the things that actually helped us when we get into the counter position, especially when the opponent lose the ball and the players are actually in good positions. And I'm sure that that's where the counter thing came into existence. It came very well. It ran perfectly. So in terms of this season now, it's like the players are holding the ball too long. They're holding it. It's just possession wise and all that stuff. And I could see why it's kind of declining because maybe Maresca's maybe he kind of like told them to know when you're countering, just hold the ball, or when you're about to counter, you know, um, just relax with the ball, play it safe and all that stuff. And yeah, I think there's a more approach to it, bro. Like in terms of the countering and and as well as how Maresca is approaching the game now. Yeah, it's quite different to see. But the countering part, man, I think we should do a little bit better, especially with the low block teams, because I think that can actually kill the low block teams, especially the counters is very important. So yeah, I think Maresca will find a way to, do something about it. Who knows? We'll have to see later on in the stage.
Fair enough. That's a very solid point there. And I'm happy that you mentioned that because the funny thing is there's some avenues that and aspects and the criteria and different categories of this because we can say that okay when you look at the defending which we will go on to next, we see that there's a increase there in the counters and as we've said there's been more matches, we've had more difficult games to start off with for the first 10 matches in the Premier League, for example, in comparison to last season. The only difference is that we lost against opponents that you'd expect us to win against. We faced off against some of those opponents already, I believe. We faced off against Bournemouth already. We won that match. Nottingham Forest, we know that that match didn't really go the way that we wanted it to, but at the same time, it was somewhat better than the results we would have had. But the counters, as you said, just slightly touching on the tactical aspect, we don't really want this to be just tactical because we're looking at the data as well, what the data presents. The counters, I agree with the point, and I love the point that you made about the fact that we move the ball quicker. We hesitate too long on the ball, and I've seen that in the attack for in particular as well. We tend to try to work the ball into the box quite a lot, and then what tends to happen is that we give the opponent the opportunity to become compact, try to get back into position. So we don't try to pose on the fact that they're out of position. Against Leicester City, we tried that. We didn't score as much goals as we could have in that first half as well. But we saw that we were mixing it up a bit more. We're trying to move the ball quickly because we saw a lot of the counter attacks that happened from the corner kick that they had and Jackson's cross that Madueke wasn't able to convert. We saw quick counters happening there. We saw other instances where one of those things happened. We didn't get a goal as well. For example, where Palmer took the shot, and Madueke blocked it. Incidentally, those are things that we have to talk about. But the defending aspect, we see that it says 30.5. The data shows 30.5, and this season, 2024-25 season, we see 45.8 on the data. So, what do you think about that aspect? You touched on it before, but do you think it's a case of the fact that we have more of those players available because we had players like Fofana unavailable? We have the likes of Lavia who's been able to protect the defense a bit better. Casado having a better season as he would have had last season. What are your thoughts about that, Brian? Are you still there, man?
Yeah, I'm still there. Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, Chi? Okay, maybe it's the network. Sorry,
Yeah, I
maybe it's
can
the
hear you.
network. I think alright. The defending part, bro. Just off the tactical wise conversation, I think maybe you because you mentioned because we never had our players and our players were injured. I think also that's the case, but I think as well is like maybe we were not solid enough at the back because there were one or two situations where our defense was a little bit shaken open. So I think that also gets to the point where like our defending was bad. And two, I think because our defending was bad, it was the pressing. Maybe the pressing actually infected our defending. And as well that sometimes when you press, you can see it with other teams, especially with Barcelona at the time. Like sorry to like go off topic, sorry. But you can see when you press, when a team presses, like sometimes they'll leave open spaces for players, for the opponents to drive in and all that stuff. And we know that last season we were very like unluckily getting those weird results because all those mid-block teams suddenly have had technical players into it. So I think the defending also comes about saying like, yo, maybe we were not very clinical at defending. Not saying like we never had defenders to defend. It's just that probably we were more solid at the back. So it comes back to my point now as like right now very solid at the back, but there's just one or two things that's missing. It's the mistakes. And yeah, I think when I look at it as last season compared to this season, we're much better in terms of defending. Because last season I noticed that we were throwing the ball so many much. And now this season we are keeping it. And when we're keeping it, we defend it. When the opponents have the ball, we kind of defend, get it back. The interceptions, you saw it by last year, the interceptions were amazing. So we get it back, we defend, get to certain positions, get our positions right. And I think, the defending part worked very well this season. So we have sorted that issue out, the defending, and I'm pretty much will be all right with it. It's just one or two things, one mistake. Maresca will fix it, and yeah, think he'll do an excellent job.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. That's a valid point. Big up to you, my good friend DJ South. I hope you're doing well. He says, "Good evening, Ty, the panel and the chat. How is everyone doing today? Smash the like and subscribe, people. Yes, let's smash the like button and let's subscribe as well. We're trying to push closer and closer, to that 3,000 subscribers mark, and we're getting there slowly but surely, but we're getting there. Ayodi, are you back? Let's see if the host of the show is back. Can you speak? Are you still there, Ayodi?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So back over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for advertising for me. I'm sorry, guys. I had some technical issues that I needed to quickly sort out, and I think those that Tyron and Ma had really done justice to what I actually had in mind by bringing out this topic for us to talk about. I just wanted to be contextual with things because looking at it, I was going through an analysis and I saw that last season, in comparing it to this season, it's just 4 points. We have just 4 points more at this stage. We have just 4 points this season than at this stage last season. But we are 8 positions. We have 8 positions difference. That's we are third now, and I think we're 11th or 13th, around 11 or 13th, around this point last season. So, and from the chart that we have that we can see here, we can see that it's even as if we're doing better last season than this season. But in context, we have faced tougher teams this season, much tougher teams this season. And the last 10 matches we've had the hardest matches. We faced the hardest teams. And looking at the upcoming 10 matches, the next 10 matches, I think we have one of the easiest match runs in the league. So it just tells you that we've held our own against the very best. We've lost just 3 matches this season, just 2 matches this season. We've lost against as against Manchester City. That was the first game, and I think it was rather unfortunate that we were starting the season with that match, and we've lost against Liverpool. And that Liverpool, we all can agree that it was a match that we felt we could have um, gotten enough points from. And looking it back, taking it back to last season, Chelsea has not lost in so many matches. The last 3 matches we've lost against Arsenal, against Manchester City, and against Liverpool. So this one is a run that has spanned for since last season, and coming to this season is such that we are doing very, very well. Looking at the league table. This is the league table last season. Last season, league table last season. So at this point, we were tenth. We were tenth, and this season we are third. That's eight position difference. 8 positions. That's the difference. So really, really, Matt. So do you think we are making progress? Are we making progress?
Little by little, most definitely, I think we are. But there are two things that it's we kind of need to work on is the pressing. I think the pressing is because of his style of play, the way he plays, holding the ball and all that stuff. But I think we can work on that, the pressing and the defending too. I think you can do a little better with the defending. Because with the defending, it has to combine with the physicality too. And I think that's one thing we're really missing with the defense. It's a little bit of a strong guy type of guy. But we saw it now since with Balasia came onto the picture. We saw that's kind of a little bit improving now. So yeah. I think we are doing a bit better, a little bit better. There's just one or two things we really need to fix properly, in terms of where we get our end game properly, especially the pressing thing. I think the pressing aspect has to be, calculated very well because when we press it, like the opposition tends to lose the ball very quickly. So, but like I said, it's a different type of system they use, the guys. So, yeah, maybe they have a different approach to it. But yeah, I think we are definitely making a good progress this season.
All right, and thank you for that. Okay, I still want to press you on that because in context, we faced Liverpool, we faced Arsenal, we faced Manchester City, we faced Brighton. If you look at most of the teams we faced, that good pressing teams. They are teams that are very good on transition. Once they have the ball and you are not pressing them well, they will slice you through. Could it be that the coach is making us have a mid block, sit in the mid block, whereby the opponent have the ball in the first phase of the field, and we now press at the second phase. Because I was going through a write up by Night Times. I've forgotten their real names now. So I was going through that, and coming into this season, we're expecting Chelsea to be very loud with possession, Chelsea to hold the ball more. But realistically, we now saw that we let go of the ball more. We let go of the ball more. We are not racking up as much possession as you would think we would. And many of that is because of a large bulk of that is because of the fact that we have faced teams that are very good on the ball. We have faced teams that are very good with pressing. So could it be that the coach is allowing these guys, the opponents, have the ball at the first phase and we fall into a mid block? Then after the mid block, we now go just to pull them out so that there is space at the back. Because we've seen, like against Wolves, when they come out, then we have space at the back. We saw that against Brighton too. We have space at the back for us to attack. So what do you think?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Before Mary goes, I'm before you go, Mary, I'm really sorry. Forgive me. Big up to you, Blue Clouds Media. Thank you for joining. Um, and he's saying greetings to Tyrone and Big DJ. And by the way, after this, Ayodi, we have Bobby here now. Big up to you, Bobby. I think we probably should let him give his 2 cents on the first topic as to which striker could perhaps lead the line next season, take into account strikers we're linked with, because there's some items that are coming out now with the links to Liam Delap. So I don't know, it's your show, don't let me tell you what to do. I'm just trying to help you in terms of keeping everybody involved.
All right, thank you very much. So, big up to you, Bobby. Big up to you, Bobby. Thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, pick up, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you very much. All right, man. Let me have you answer the question before we come back to the first.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's an interesting one. The way Nicolas Jackson is developing cannot go unnoticed. And it'll be interesting to see if Chelsea do get a main striker, how that pans out. I suspect there'll be a situation where the way we play will be changed slightly for Nicolas to be a number two striker in many games. Now, because Nicolas is more or less the main guy, we may not go for a big name anymore, vis-a-vis Osimhen that we've been linked to, or Gyokeres. We might go for this Delap guy who's young, not as popular in terms of his fame, and Premier League tested, and looks the type of striker that could well feed someone like um, Jackson, and wouldn't be opposed to a rotation. I can see that happening, and also fits into our model of young players. I can really see that happening. Um, um, yeah, and I wouldn't be too opposed to it. Yes, it's good to have the likes of your Osimhen's. He's an excellent striker, and so is Gyökeres. But we have to be so careful not to bring players in at this point that could hinder those that are positively developing in the new model. It's different when we bring somebody in for someone that we know really isn't really going anywhere. For example, bringing back Andre Santos for Keenan Dewsbury Hall. That's fine. But in the striking position, it must be somebody who is either so exceptional that they take the position for their own, or is good enough to rotate or play with who we have there already. Speaking of midfielders, another midfielder that's beginning to rip up trees is Ugochukwu. He did very well for Southampton against Liverpool. So we really need to keep an eye on him as well. But that was just a side note. So just to answer your question, I think, and I'll be a bit controversial, of all the strikers we're linked with, maybe the guy to go for is Delap from Ipswich.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Delap is a tricky choice, and let's see what the board will do. And it's such that we must not forget that this is a board that is loud on data. Every of their decision is based on data, so that is something that we really need to check. Fingers crossed. But all right, let me put you on the spot, Bobby. Do you think we need a striker in January?
Um, a striker in January. That's another big one. Um, Two things are going to come to mind. The strikers that we are linked with, will their clubs let them go without charging an arm and a leg it's unlikely. Even Delap, I can't see Ipswich letting him go in January. Gyokeres, it's going to be a lot of money to get him away in January. I know that the fee has more or less been capped at about 65 million or so, but that's not going to happen in January. I think they're still in the Champions League, aren't they? And Osimhen, who is with Galatasaray, who are likely to still be in contention in the Champions League come January. It's unlikely that will happen. Although, of all of them, he is the one most likely to be able to make that switch than the others. I don't know why. I remain very cautious about him. I don't know why. I just feel. Also, we have to remember that I think in January is the African Cup of Nations. So Jackson will be away, and then getting in someone like Osimhen, who will definitely be away. Kind of, you wonder, well, what's the sense in that? You know, you're getting a striker. I just don't know. I don't see us doing that business in January. Let's put it that way. If we do, it would be Osimhen. If not, we'll probably go with what we got till the end of the season. And remember, we still have Nkunku, who we're using in that position. Um, and with time, we'll get his opportunity to play in that position. And Maresca has also shown that he's quite happy to play both Nkunku and Jackson, as he did against Leicester later on in the game. So there are many permutations here. But as for a striker coming in January, I have my doubts.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. We are rounding up. We are rounding up very soon. So let's go back to the topic that we are having now, and that is on Chelsea this season against Chelsea last season. We've seen a lot of metrics, and from the stats that is being shown on the screen now, statistically it looks as if we were better last season than this season. That's comparing in context. We are looking at the 36 matches and 38 matches last season as against the ones we've played so far this season. Contextually, you also must consider the fact that we have played tougher teams this season. Played tougher teams. I think the only big teams that we've not played are Aston Villa and Tottenham, and we have them in the next 2 or 3 matches. So, what do you think? What do you think? Maresca ball or Poch ball? Let me start with Bobby before I go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the greatest test to the comparison of this season to last season is just look at our position in the table and the points we have. I don't think anything else really matters. By end of November, beginning of December last season, I would be surprised if we were anywhere greater than 11th. I can't remember, but I don't think we were. You know, we were struggling with injury, and I don't buy that statistic. You know, we are, even with goals conceded, we have there are only I think four, maybe five clubs that have conceded less. Um, uh, goal scoring. We have both Jackson and Palmer as in the goal scoring area. There's a statistics I saw on Sky Sports which I found really interesting, because a lot of our fans are on a bit of a downer with Levi Colwell. But in terms of ball distribution, passes, he's right up there. In fact, I think there are only about one, maybe two players that are above him. One I noticed was Virgil van Dijk, and another was, I think, gosh, I've forgotten who the other one was now. But he's right up there in terms of ball distribution. So in all the metrics this season, we're present. So I can't say that we're. I mean, it's blatantly obvious that we're much better this season than we were last season. You know, we have more fit players. We are rotating better in terms of managing players um, staying fit. So no, I think this season, at the moment, we're much better.
All right, thank you very much. Mel, let me hear from you.
Yeah, I think Bobby's right. I mean, like we're much far better. Like I said, I was retired just now. I was explaining to it that we're actually far better than compared to last season. But the only thing that's like our problem is the pressing, because like with especially like we before Bobby joined in, we're discussing about the pressing. Like it's going to be very if it's gonna affect us with the mid block teams, especially mid block teams. They don't like press and they like the bigger teams to go into the box and all that stuff. And I understand that with the ball possession and two, but I think we are actually doing a decent job. Like I said, there are only one or two things that we really need to work on. Really need to work on, and yeah. But by the looks of it, I think the players are getting into it, into the Maresca ball, more compared to the Poch ball. The Poch ball was just fast, fluid, counter, fast, get the ball out of the your area, all that stuff. Right? As in Maresca, you keeping the ball lots of, and we just allowing the mid block teams to just sit there and So I think there are still problems that we need to fix. But other than this, maybe we are fine.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's a fair point. Um, sincerely, I'm in awe of this Chelsea team. I'm in awe of the tactics the coach is bringing. Because the pattern of play against Leicester that led to a goal, the Madueke goal, like I was in awe. Only for, it's a pity that Cucurella was fractionally offside. It was wonderful, that passage of play, and they recycled the ball until they got the space. They recycled the ball so well until they got the space, and boom, just a pity that the goal didn't stand. So that tells you that something is really being done, and I think it's high time. If you are not in the bus yet, it's high time to get in the bus and support this team. I still see some very negative comments online, and I still smile. I smile over how delusional some of our fans can be, and it's funny. But I think if we are going anyway, it is the way up for us because this team is doing so well, and it's lovely. It's lovely times, and I personally, I said it last week. I think there's no cap to what this team can achieve. What this team can achieve. I think we said last week that the only problem might be inexperience over time, but looking at the set of upcoming fixtures that we have, then you really tell yourself that wow, we really can do so well this season. We really can do so well. I think we are doing exceptionally well. That's what I think. And kudos to the coach. I still love Maresca ball. I will still pick Maresca ball over watch football. And funny enough, how that we are able to curb our injury issues this season, and it just tells you that something is changing. Yet might be from the board because they've done a lot of changes in the medical department, and might also be from the coach because if the coach is allowed on keeping possession as against just running and running and running, definitely you have less muscle injuries because the players are not running like they used to. So kudos to the coach, kudos to the team, and of course, kudos to the sporting to the sporting directors for the recruitment team. Kudos to them all. All right, we are coming to the end of the show. So let me hear from you. Last words, man. Let me hear from you.
I'm very sorry, but we have not even touched on the players. We haven't touched enough about how the players that were there
Man, are you
before,
there?
how they've been doing better.
All right,
Are
Bobby,
we
let me hear from you. Okay, he's there. Man, let me hear from
no?
you.
Are we going to touch on the players or are we rounding up?
Yeah, we're rounding up. We're rounding up.
Oh, okay.
We should
Yeah,
have
like
talked. We should have talked about the players, though, man.
I didn't get that tie.
I'm saying that we to have further the comparison, we should have looked at how certain players have done under Maresca in comparison to Pochettino.
Oh, I
We
thought
touched on the
we've done
surface.
that.
Really, we did.
Okay, I thought
Did we
we've
talk?
done it.
Did we talk about the application of Kukurea and how he's been more effective despite the fact that he's been inverted as well? Have we touched on the fact that he was that Gusto, for example, has been somewhat of an additional number 10 playing somewhat of a RHS, meaning that he's been a right-sided sort of support in the attack.
Okay. Looking at those statistics, okay, we really don't have those statistics here, but we are going to use the eye test. How that okay, if you look from last season, you see that the major difference, the team started taking an upturn when we started inverting Cucurella. And I don't know if we remember that. And since last season, it's a team that continued into this season, early parts of this season. And of course, the coach too had tweaks. We have Gusto playing the number 10 position. We had okay, we have a start here. We have Gusto playing the number 10 position. Okay, this Cucurella starts um last from last season to this season. So we have the cross percentage. Wow, from 28.3 to 72.4. Like the cross last yesterday to the goal that against Leicester, the goal that was cancelled. That cross was wow. We have the expected assist from 28.3 to 7.0. That's a drop. From progressive passes, we have 13.5 to 42.4. So I think the reason why this X expected assist is reduced is because of the fact that most times he has been in the midfield as against Leicester where he was on the wings. So we have defensive action. You can see the defensive action almost similar. We have 93.8 to 97.7 defensive dwells percentage over them. It's 2.4 drop to 7.6. You have area dwells one percentage. You have 61.8 to 40.7. You have progressive carries. We've had 34.9 to 25.6. And of course, the minutes played, you can see the huge difference. So let me hear from you, man. Let me start from you, man. So what can you say? What do you have to say about the application of Cucurella? Are we getting the best out of him? And do you think that that position suits him going forward?
yeah, I think as well because what we saw from Cucurella and what we saw with Pochettino at first, because he started with the Chilwell left wing thing, and I think as where we got to the maybe the little part of the end of the season period, when now Cucurella got slotted into that role, then he started just inverting, and that's where we applied the inverting thing with Cucurella, and it's been exceptional, doing very well, and he did it with Spain before the Euros, and I said this before, Ty's life, big up. I said that before in during before this season, during the Euros, he was actually doing that, and he had an outstanding performance in the Euros. He was even named in the team of the tournament too. So, like, I think it suits him very well. That role suits him very well compared to bringing him into the wing back role and all that stuff, trying to keep him in the wide area and all that stuff. I think it limits him. Where when you invert, he gets to the third area, he inverts to the middle, and he helps along, especially in the offense. We saw it with the offside goal, the disallowed goal. The person who created it was Cucurella. Got into the third area, crossed it in, bang. And we have seen that so many times, Cucurella. And I think it's been exceptionally well, man. Like, I give him praise, and I think he'll continue to, with his form. And yeah, I think it's one or two things that I appreciate from Pochettino, because that inverted thing came from Pochettino. And I think Maresca saw it and he implied it as well. He decided to continue with it. And that's one thing I appreciate from Pochettino is the Cucurella inverting. But other than this, Cucurella has been outstanding for us. And yeah, I think he'll continue to do a bit better.
Yes. That's a solid point indeed. Solid point. I want us to quickly touch on this because we should start wrapping up indeed. However, I wanted us to exhaust this comparison because it's simple to just touch on the surface. And by the way, Bobby, are you still there? Let's get your thoughts on Kukureya's improvement so far this season, despite the drop off in terms of expected assists. Or if you're still there, Bobby.
Sorry, I didn't get that. What was the question?
Right. Right, so I'm asking. So we're looking at the data for Kukureya's stats of last season in comparison to this season and how we've seen some significant improvement so far.
Hmm. Well, to start with, Cucurella was also amongst the injured, wasn't he? He had large chunks of time off injured, although he did play more than most, but injury hit him hard. And the system, I mean, at one point, Pochettino was looking to even sell him, which is quite bizarre. I was never on that train to sell Cucurella, but I knew that he was just get going through a settling in period. And as Ty knows, I've made that warning sign about Esteval Williams. Everybody's saying he's going to be this great player, and I'm sure he will, but I'm also warning that he's going to need to settle in. It happened with Moises Caicedo. Players don't just come and click straight away. So Cucurella had his own settling in period. He needed to find his niche as to how he could play and be very functional for the team. And he's more than just an inverter. Like on Saturday, Maresca didn't use him as an inverter because he played a back three mainly and squeezed them up in midfield and played him as a wing back. So um, Cucurella, his optics are there to be seen more than the stats. I think stats sometimes can be deceptive, and optics are everything. And I think certainly after his showing in the Euros for Spain, he hasn't looked back. And I think he's a very, very crucial member of Chelsea's team now, both in the dressing room and on the pitch.
Right, fair enough. That's a solid point. I want us to quickly move on to Gusto because we're going to wrap up after we look at Casado lastly. But Gusto, this is one where we talk about one fullback that was doing well most of the season, and that would have been Gusto. Gusto would have done better than Kukurea. Then latter part of the season, we ended up seeing Kukurea perform better. But I want to get your thoughts, Mayor. What do you think about the data that's right here? Because it says the cross percentage has dropped. Obviously, we've played less games. But what do you think about this contrast as to the performances of Gusto in comparison to last season?
Oh yeah, it shows. Yeah, the data really shows well. Yeah, yeah, it shows that he was actually the role that he had with Pochettino actually worked for him. It shows like he was very comfortable there. You could see like the crossing is and the carrying, yeah, the carrying the ball is very spot on. Because last season I saw more of him carrying the ball into the wide area, even crossing too, even willing duels as well. But the dual parts, yeah, he's kind of actually battling with that because yes, he's a wing back. Wing backs are not naturally enough to wing duels like that, especially when they come 1v1 with one of the top wingers in the Premier League. So I think what happened last season, it has to do with the role that he was playing with Pochettino compared to this season. This season now he's now inverting and all that stuff, and it's kind of limiting him as well because he gets to the positions, and you spoke about this. He gets to really good positions, but like the good decision is not there. The good decision making is never there, and I think it's kind of affecting him as well. But the inverting thing, because he's probably not used to that, so he's kind of learning one or two bits. But I could see that maybe his role back then with Pochettino was far better than his role with Maresca. And yeah, I think maybe with the crossing as well is because he's usually in the central area. Because this season I never saw him in the wide area trying to put the ball in the box and all that stuff. He's not mainly that type. Now maybe Maresca put him in a role trying to tweak something maybe to see, because Gusto with wing backs, Gusto is very fast with legs. He got some legs, so and I think that is kind of like affecting him in that role, because that role is probably limiting him very high, bro, very high. So maybe Maresca will change one or two things for him. If not, he has to improve, because as a wing back, you have to improve game in and game out. Even though a manager wants you to play in a specific role, you have to improve at the end of the day. So I think this season it kind of declined a little bit because maybe he's not in form. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen. But wow, like what I'm looking from the stats, it's kind of like it actually makes sense because last season he was carrying the ball, crossing, doing all that stuff, 1v1s, and we kind of saw the Gusto that we saw that we wanted. As to this season, he's now more fluid, he's more floating onto this inverted overload thing, and yeah, it's limiting his game. But fair enough. Maybe we'll see one or two games we'll pick up. If not, yeah, that has to deal with the manager.
Right, fair enough. How about you, Bobby?
I have a very different take on this. Um, I think it's about the team and not the individual. I don't think his finishing was ever his strong point, even last season, because he's still a developing player and he has to develop that in his game. He's been put in more goal scoring opportunities this season than last season, and he's failed to deliver. I think it's about what impact are you in the new functionality of the team. And he is of high impact. He's part of the new system, whether he's inverting, whether he's going up to play the number 10 role as part of the inversion, or whether he's in the right back role, which it seems rare that Pochettino keeps him there within the team. This is a totally different system, and the system utilizes him in a more flexible way. So I don't think it's taken anything away from his game at all. If anything, it's added to his maturity, adding to his development, and adding to the efficiency of the team, which is what's all important. There's no point playing and flying up and down and shining when the team is losing or shipping in goals. Um, I know in his presence, Pochettino's teams were stronger, that's for sure, because of what he gave us. But they were also that team was also quite vulnerable. It would ship in goals, it would show inconsistency, it would win 10-0 one week and lose, 2-1 the next, or 3-0, or even 5-0. as was the case at the Emirates. I have no problem with what's happening with him now. I think Maresca ball is very pragmatic, and we have missed that. Um, Pochettino was quite cavalier. He just went for it more times than not, and that's not the way to go in the Premier League. So, in my conclusion, I'll say Gusto is evolving as the team is evolving. There are aspects of his game he needs to do better because this system of play exposes it more, especially when he inverts in the upper third of the field and drops into the number 10 position where he gets into the box. He's got to finish. He's got to finish. But that will come. And as his team, I mean, as his game develops.
All right, fair enough. Thank you for that contribution. I appreciate it. Big up to you, Owen Hart. Big up Ty, Mayor, and Bobby. Where is Ayodi? All right, so you're on the later side actually. Owen, he was actually hosting the show and then he had to leave abruptly because of some technical issues. But we're rounding up now. This is going to be the final player. There's a whole bunch of players we could go through, but we're focusing on the players that were the winners and losers potentially coming into this season, or the winners of last season. And the last player we're going to touch on is Casado, who's had a definite improvement in some areas. And if you can see with the dates, obviously I'm not sure if you can really see it, Bobby. If not, I'll still read it out, and then you can give me your 2 cents. Mayor, you can do the same as well. So let's go and look at that. So last season, dual percentage 77.7. This season is 90.2%. Defensive actions 55.7. Last season is 87.7 this season. So you can obviously see the increase. That's around 30% more. You have progressive carries 31.6 last season. This season is 42.2. You're obviously seeing increase. Now forward passes, this is something that has dropped off somewhat. It was 72.6 last season, it's 69.9 this season. What do you guys think about this so far?
Well, Caicedo is my real case in point about allowing a player to settle in. He started off well, to be fair, he had all that transfer saga hanging over him, British transfer record, no preseason. So it was very tough for him last season. At the best of times, he would have needed to settle in, new team, every player new to each other, new manager, new system. But to his credit and to his hard work, he has settled in. I think Maresca has allowed him some stability that they all need. And the real Moises Caicedo is stepping forward to become yet again another crucial player in the Chelsea setup, really. However, he is subject to rotation, just like everybody else. If for anything, to save him, keep him fresh, keep him injury free, and keep him available because people like Moises play a lot of football, both for club and country. And so you need to manage them. And Maresca is doing that, as he showed on Saturday. He pulled him off, brought on Lavia, who, by the way, wasn't really good on Saturday. He was quite poor. And I think maybe that's a reflection of whatever niggle it was he was carrying. But yeah, Moises has definitely improved. And the stats is showing that. This is one case where stats and optics match.
How about you, Mayor?
Yeah, fair point, Bobby. I think as well I also have to grab into his context, like because with Caicedo, we saw like how he started at a shaky start. So um and I think he had a different role compared to this season's because this season is more effective in the offense. Like because you could see the key passes, like that's spot on. Like yeah, I think he assisted Jackson so many times this season compared to last season. So even the duels, man, the duels are much stronger this season, Caicedo, because I'm sure he has a new role this season compared to last season. And yeah, like Bobby said, shaky start, that transfer saga too, it kind of affected his game. But what I like about Caicedo is his mental. Like he has that mentality of like keep going, never stopping, and like yeah, I think that's one good aspect of a player is that when you have a shaky start and you have that thing moving into a new club, you gotta have that mentality to like press on or to be that type of player to be a good player for a team, and he used that and he capitalized on that, and now we see he's very consistent now. I actually wrote him off last season. I won't lie to you. I wrote this guy off because I felt like we made a bad decision purchasing someone that's 120. And when it comes to transfers like that and someone doesn't kick on, it's frustrating because now we feel like the person's going to be unsettled and it's going to be problems and all that stuff. And with in Caicedo, that boils down to my point is that the mentality, he kept it on spot on. He felt no pressure. He was he was at the moment there was a little bit of spark, little bit of pressure onto him, but he never phased on that. He kept on pushing, kept on going. And I like that about him. And he grew and he's still growing. And this guy is how old? 22, 23, very young. Man, this guy is one of the best DMs right now. I don't know who else is going to beat him in that category right now, besides Declan Rice or besides Onana from West Ham. Oh, sorry, Aston Villa, sorry. I don't know who else is better in that position other than Caicedo. But yeah, I mean, great start for Caicedo. Happy for him. And I wish him all the best, man. I wish him all the best.
All right, thank you both for your contributions, and we're coming on to the 2 hour mark, but I want to just clarify, going back to the first topic. I want to know your guys' selection. So starting with you, Bobby. If we do end up signing a new striker, who do you think should lead the line? Who do you think is best in terms of the way that we're playing and based on what you've seen from Maresca? Which striker from the ones that we're linked with, or even the options that we have at our disposal right now, who do you select?
Um, I did say earlier that in terms of which striker, if we do buy a striker, is that the question?
Yes, that's it.
Is that? I would do something really, really different, in line with our model, but very different and something that most people won't expect. Go for Delap. He won't mind being rotated. He's deadly in front of goal, and he will work with and
Have we lost Bobby? Okay, I think we lost Bobby. Are you still here, Mayor?
yeah, I'm still here. Did you hear my answer?
No,
Yeah, you said
I
Liam
think you
Liam Delap.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Liam Delap for Bobby. How about you, Mayor? Is it still Sesko?
Benjamin Sesko, if not Delap. But I want Benjamin Sesko, man. Like Benjamin Sesko, bro. Like such a talent. Like everything. He's like I think for our system, he's very perfect, man. It's very. But hey, the wage structure as well for him too. It's going to be very difficult to bring him here, and as well his contract because he renewed his contract with Leipzig. So that's gonna be a difficult one to get. But in terms of like who's gonna lead our line, we had a touch on this. We spoke about Nkunku as well. Having that type of picture in the starting lineup too, being the front, leading the line. We also talked about Jackson because of his brilliant performance this season. Maybe you will have the chance to also lead a line again. I'm pretty much sure that I even touched on it. I said he actually deserves it from what I'm seeing so far with Jackson. But if we going to get someone in the market, I prefer also one of the guys also preferred in the chat. He preferred Viktor Gyokeres more than Benjamin Sesko, because Viktor Gyokeres, what I see with Viktor Gyokeres is a more of a complete forward. So my about Benjamin Sesko, yeah, it's a little bit biased, but even previously, like I said, we should get a player that's going to fit the system, not just buying a striker that's just going to, like Bobby said, it's not an individual sport, it's a team sport. So, like, we should buy a player that's gonna be considered for the whole team. It's gonna work out for the system. And yeah, I think there's one or two players that really work out on that, Liam Delap or Benjamin Sesko. But what I'm also seeing is that Chelsea is really targeting Liam Delap so much, man. They're heavily linked to him. What is such a great talent. I would also love him at Chelsea. So yeah, I would want to see him what he would do with Chelsea.
All right, so thank you for joining us today. Roderick is saying excellent discussion today. Ayodi, Mer, Bobby, and of course, Ty. Appreciate you being here, Roderick. You and Tim had a good debate. Victor, I think, came in on other persons. It's always a pleasure being on the panel with you, Bobby. It's always a pleasure having you here, Mer. And Ayodi unfortunately had to leave abruptly, but much thanks to him as the co-host of this channel as well for having this discussion and deciding to have these items to stir the conversation as well. But from the entire Chelsea sessions team, from Mayor Bobby and other persons who are here as well, big up to you all as we continue to talk about the club that we love the most and try to grow the community in peace and in harmony. Any last words from any of you guys?
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Ty, to you again. God bless you, bro, for having me on this platform. Bobby, big up. God bless you too. Also in the channel, guys, please subscribe, like, share to your friends, even to the football community where you're from. Yeah, let's help the channel grow. And yeah, let's continue to have a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, always an absolute pleasure, Ty. Uh, it's to be here on the platform with you guys. It's always good fun.
All right. Well, with that being said, thanks for watching, everyone, and peace. See you guys in the next one.